Hello, it's day 10 of my Endometriosis Diary, and I want to talk about something that's come to my attention that's made me quite angry actually. That with all this talking about endometriosis and various gynecological issues that women suffer from, issues with their ovaries, so polycystic ovaries and polyps. Heavy bleeding or sporadic bleeding throughout the month because of exercise or just sporadic bleeding, with no explanation. And in speaking to these different women, a couple of them have said that because they don't have a diagnosis of endometriosis, or because they were diagnosed later on in life, they feel kind of fraudulent about talking about it, and that's just, it made me quite upset really, because they don't feel legitimised in the experience that they've had. These women have and are going through terrible hardship and suffering with these conditions, and none of us are frauds in this situation, and I understand where they're coming from, because for a long time I felt like a fraud as well. I felt several of my friends over the past 20 years that I've been experiencing painful periods have said to me, "Oh, have you looked into endometriosis? Maybe you've got that." And I've always dismissed it and said, like, no, I'm my periods, they're not that bad, they're just they're manageable. I'm sure I just have normal periods like everybody else, and dismissing this idea that I might have this condition. Why was I dismissing that? Why was I dismissing that suggestion that I might have this condition? I think because there's too much taboo and stigma of talking about women's problems. Talking about periods, or what are you talking about, periods, or whatever. It's just nonsense, isn't it? And old school. I hope that young women talk about these sort of things a lot more openly now, because it's so important. And I hope that men talk about it too. Young men, learn about these issues, because it's really, really important to know what's going on with women, and it's important for women to know what's going on with women and discuss it with each other. Talk about these issues, find out what's normal, what is normal, what's not normal, how they're feeling, whether they need to go to the doctor, and whether, if the doctor dismisses them, which has happened to me for absolutely years, being dismissed by doctors and told that there's nothing wrong with me and that I'm fine. It makes you feel like a fraud. It makes you feel like you're making it up, And I understand that it's difficult for doctors to diagnose this condition, because it can only be diagnosed by having a laparoscopy, so having keyhole surgery in order to look inside your body to see what's going on, and that's not 100% proof either, because often it can be missed. What was my point? I'm just like raging. I'm just raging about women feeling like frauds. Yeah, so doctors misdiagnosing this condition, and because it is difficult to diagnose. It's multifaceted endometriosis, and the same with other gynecological issues as well, conditions. And so doctors are often, floundering around in the dark and trying to find, maybe it's IBS, or or you get bad migraines. Well, you know, maybe you're not getting enough sleep, or you know, you're mental, but your hormones are all over the place. Well, you know, maybe yeah, it's to do with, like, are you eating too many eggs or whatever? I don't know. You know, a lot of dismissal about this condition, and women have to be really a lot of the times, unless they have an incredibly good doctor, GP, that's really on it, then they have to really force the issue about getting a diagnosis and an investigation and being referred to a specialist. You know, it was only when I was 39 that I really insisted that I be referred to an endometriosis specialist, and then I started to get answers. You know, then it was found that I have fibroids, and let's go from there, you know. So, you know, the thing back to the point of, like, women feeling like frauds, I think it's because there's such a there's self-doubt. There's self-doubt about what we're going through, and that self-doubt is created by misdiagnosis, by media, you know, how periods are just this thing that's like, oh, you know, cover it up. I don't know if anybody remembers the body form adverts from my youth, you know, of a woman on roller skates and, like, wow, body form, and then you just put your, you know, period pad on and off you go on your fucking roller skates along the beach. Yes, just it's such a bad image. Oh man, I'm so angry. Maybe I'm a little bit all over the place with this today. I'll try not to go on too much longer. I'm also starting to come out the other side of my endometriosis cycle. I'm not in as much pain anymore. And when that starts to happen, I start to get very excited about not being in pain and being able to actually do things. So what we call it here, what me and Bez call it, is getting on your high horse. So I'm a bit on my high horse at the moment, but this is the process. These are the patterns. You know, you're going to see me in lots of different states, and these are the patterns that occur with women with these issues. It's part of the story. So you're seeing it live and true here. All right, I'm going to leave you alone now. Thanks for watching again. See you tomorrow.